you know, the truck would have to be right there. Like the truck and trailer would have to be literally right there. And I see rocks through the water. And so I'm gonna put the GoPro right in, see what it's. See if I can find Alex Jackson, 33-year-old that went missing. He's missing with his truck and his trailer. His dog was found in Gray, Maine, on the edge of Gray and North Yarmouth on Gray Road. He was having some anxiety issues. He was speaking in an anxious tone on the phone with friends when he was overheard. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint that the dog collar that was changed out was because Alex put a new collar on the dog, gave him a new life kind of thought process, and took the collar with him because he was very proud of that collar and the bell. I'm going to be working on the Royal River in Yarmouth and working my way towards Pownell and then into Gray, and then I'm going to start working all the other ponds. That's the plan. Trailer. So he's driving a 3500 Dodge. It's a farm truck and a farm trailer with it. The trailer is, I'm not sure if it's plated or not plated. I don't think it is. I think it's a farm trailer that carries hay. And he was up in Leeds, Maine, and disappeared. His last ping is in Turner, between Turner and Monmouth, Maine. I'm set up with the boat that you have behind me, that I have behind me. That is, I put it together in the last 2 weeks just to find a way to get up there and help them before I leave for Australia, because it's weighing on them heavily. So they haven't found the truck, the trailer. They did find the dog. So the dog was found in Gray, Maine, and Gray, Maine, on the edge of Gray Road between Gray, Maine and North Yarmouth. The dog's collar was switched out. And what that tells me, again, I'm speculating a little bit, and I hate speculating, but what I've seen in the past in my life is that, and the thought process of this, you have to understand, if I love my dog, but I did not want him to go down with me in a car, I would switch his collar out, and I would take his collar with me. If I was, because that would give me comfort. So if in fact this is a self-harm scenario, I'm not really sure if it's a self-harm or it's an accident, but I'm going along the lines of that. The only reason why the collar is switched out is two reasons. One, someone moved him there, or Alex put the collar on him, put the dog outside the vehicle, drove the vehicle in the water. And so because of the fact that he was having some issues with his anxiety, and I am hearing that he was anxious when he was on the phone, I have a feeling that there's something snapped, something went wrong, stress, money issues, whatever it may be, and he decided at that point in time today was the day. That car and the truck and trailer is a 6-foot truck, but it's an 8.5-foot trailer, meaning the hay bale location's at least 8.5 feet from the ground to the top of the metal. So I got to find some body of water that's 12 feet deep. So it's a change in what we've been doing in the past, because you could be in 2.7 meters and you'd be 2 feet below the water or 3 feet below the water, and you couldn't be seen. In And that metal object of the trailer in the back, that needs to be below the water by at least 6 to 12 inches, or it could be sticking out of the water and no one's seen it, meaning that I might go over the trailer and it might be at the water level, but it has to be 10 feet deep. So, or if it's sticking out of the water, then the trailer is going to be seen first. So I'm looking for the trailer. We know that Gray Road is a piece of the puzzle because the dog was on Gray Road in North Yarmouth on the Gray Line. Right near there, there's also power lines. Grassy section that's in a straight line from the Androscoggin River all the way over the Royal River, all the way to Crystal Lake and Forest Lake and the other lakes on the edge of Lake Little Sebago. So I'm going to do everything I can. This is the map. This is the map. I'm going to try to stay on the road here. That's the map of my planning for the weekend. So it's Saturday and Sunday I'm doing this. I'm going to see what I can do to bring him home. And I'm going to give him answers, if nothing else, that he's not in specific locations, and or that I found him. Literally dealing with high water marks, and so I got to be very careful with what I'm doing, especially if I decide to get into the Androscoggin River. I got to let the water levels come down because it's pretty turbulent. And that's it. That's what we're doing. That's the plan. Again, Alex Jackson, 33-year-old, missing from Windham, Maine. Families looking for him, father, mother, sister, his girlfriend, and the community. The community has been, on Facebook. There's been a lot of speculation, way too much, overboard, and to the point where too many pointing fingers, and instead of just action. So my action is now, got the sonar system set up, got the boat set up. So I've got the military farm trailer that we have for running boats and logs and having fun. And I'm making it happen, getting to Maine. I got about 160 miles to go. I'm going to do what I can to see what I can do to help. And that's what it's all about. It's all about taking action and doing what you can to make a difference. We got one life to live, and you want to do whatever you can do to help your fellow man. Towards the dog, and then circling out and circling out. So the major priority totally is this yellow section, the dog location, and all the pings in between. Where I'm at right now is in Freeport, which is just north, right over here. I'm actually right north of the Royal River. Dodge 3500 truck, flatbed with a gooseneck trailer that is 22 feet long. So right now we are marking on the bottom with the new sonar system. We've got a full setup with a battery pack set up on the system. We're in the Royal River. We're going to see if we can locate something that shows us a vehicle. The reason why we're here is specifically because the dog is pretty much in a straight azimuth from here, from the Royal River, directly back on Gray Road in North Yarmouth. And so I want to clear everything in the immediate circle.
sandy bottom. There's nothing out there other than a couple sticks in this section. A couple trees on our right. A couple square blocks on the left that are like an old track. See the tracks? I think I got a couple pieces of metal down there. Big hole to the right, filled with debris. So the dog was found off a Haskell Road at the corner of Gray, and it looks like people have been out here with their trucks. So I'm sure that they've been searching out here, or at least people have been driving back here. You have a home over there. But the reason why I'm in here is because the dog is at the end of this run, all the way up the power lines at that back corner. And so I just want to double check. Got new tracks through the whole thing. But how deep is that? I mean, that's not flipped over, that's not torn up, that plastic pipe doesn't have a rip. You got a rock right there. Nothing seems to be over, but this is bent pretty good right here. But does it look older?
Yeah, the dirt doesn't move at the bases.
No.
That's
pretty shallow too. So someone just hit this thing, careened off of it. Let me just look up here. Like, you don't have any trees over that are broken. You have damage all the way up it, as if someone's come down this hill and hit it and hit it and hit it like a bigger truck, right? But you don't have anything that's broken. And he didn't come down the hill and launch through here at the same time. I'm coming around and I'm actually going to do, I got a boat on the bottom. So you can get to here, but you can't get any further.
So I'm on the Androscoggin River near Lisbon, and I have a railroad track that runs across, and down south of here I have two power lines that run directly back to Foster, back to Wyndham. If the dog is actually a key factor, the dog tells me that that dog was not seen by people, so he is actually in a location that is in Gray, on Gray Road near North Yarmouth. And so if that's the case, the dog had to get there somehow. If it's self-harm or if it's an accident, Alex is, I don't believe that far from where the dog location is. It could be within 10, 12 miles. Well, I'm right now 14 miles away in Lisbon, somewhere in that range, and the dog would have to run down the train tracks to get there. But I'm looking at locations that are adjacent to the railroad tracks, adjacent to or perpendicular to the electrical lines, power lines that go to the Androscoggin. Because if the dog is not seen for 2 days, the dog had to be on a back road or in a back, dirt path or on the railroad tracks in order to get to where she got to. Hazel was found in good shape with only one tick. Hazel had a new collar, but she is in a spot that she's surrounded by the Royal River, the Penobscot River, and the Androscoggin River. And all of them actually have railroad tracks and power lines that cross over them, go to them, and she's in a location that's centrally located of all those. And the power line and the railroad tracks actually lead close to where she was. I'm looking for them in the rivers and in the ponds, but I'm also looking at it from a logistical standpoint of how did the dog get to where it is. So I'm not finding him in the river currently. I'm not finding him in the Androscoggin, the Royal, the Penobscot, because there's not a lot of access there unless he knows a back road to get into there, and that's the only way. But those rivers are the prime spots because of the dog. I'm now headed north to get closer to the pings to see if there's a possibility that the dog ran down the railroad tracks from further north. I just think his paws would have been in worse shape. I think he would have been in worse shape if he had to run that far, or she would have. So I just think that he's hungry, so he had to come through, or she had to come through some really unique spots to get there, and that's railroad tracks and power lines.
So I'm looking for a trailer like that one back there, where the gooseneck comes over the top of it. Lisbon, the hydroelectric dam, orange cones out there. None of the fences are down. I'm gonna keep on moving. It's pouring. Again, railroad tracks. Did the dog run down the railroad tracks all the way there and then shoot north from there? I mean, he wasn't seen. And these railroad tracks it doesn't look like they're being used. They're old. Goes on. I mean, talk to Joe Chutes, see what he says. See if I can get a mental status or an emotional status from Joe with regard to his friend, and see where he was at when they were together, and find out what was going on. What was going on? What was Alex thinking about that day that caused him to have an accident, lose control to the point where he actually decided that, you know, he didn't want to keep going anymore. So, but I've got to find a relationship between the dog location on Gray Road, near the railroad tracks, near the power lines. Why is the dog there? How did it get there? And where did he come from where Alex is? So we've got to really focus in on the dog first, and then the pings second. And the reason is because dog's collar has changed, in my opinion, because Alex wanted to keep the dog's collar with him because he loved it, loved the dog, he loved Hazel, he loved his collar. He was proud of the collar with that bell on it. And at the same time, if in fact this was self-harm, Alex kept a piece of Hazel with him, but let Hazel go by herself. That's the thought process I have. I'm hoping that this is an accident, but the changing of the collar tells me something different. So I'm just, you know, it's sad. You know, mental health is a big issue in this country, especially since COVID. Just the mental, emotional stress that year and those 2 years put on people, it caused a lot of depression. It caused a lot of anxiety. And people that were stressed about money, they became more stressed about money. People who were stressed about family or life became more stressed about it, because it became a much larger thought process for people, that life was not as easy as it once was. A person that's already has some anxiety issues and depression, they were hypersensitive to it. And I know that a lot of the psychologists out there, you struggle to get into them. I mean, they are absolutely, you know, overwhelmed with the amount of people that are actually struggling with mental illness. It's a very, very difficult road with no help. You got to talk to somebody, whether it be family members, friends, psychologists, but you got to figure it out. Having feelings of dread or whatever it may be, or depression or anxiety or just uncomfortability, you've got to find a way to fight through them, fight through the dark place. It'll make you stronger, and but you've got to find a way, because you don't want to leave this earth. You've got family that love you, you've got friends that love you, and you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you got one life. Use it. Use it to do good. Use it to make things happen. Make it amazing. I'm now entering Leeds Center, the town of Leeds, where he was last known to be. So I am working on the ping location now, the last ping location. If Alex turned his phone off, or Alex's phone died, this is the last place that he was. And so what Here's the significance of Leeds. Why did the ping go away? And is there a way for the dog to get from Leeds here home? How does the dog get home from here? Why does the dog get home from here? I mean, that dog is 7 miles from home when he's found hungry with a chicken in its mouth, with a different collar, with one tick, not beat up, his paws aren't beat up, a little bit stressed probably because he's been out for 3 days running around. How did the dog get from Leeds to there? Was he with Alex for a certain period of time before that happened? And where did that location create the demise? Was it a lake, a river? Was it on a power line? Was it on a railroad track? You know, there's got to be some clue, and I'm searching for that clue. Where is it that Alex and the dog disappeared, and then the dog resurfaced 7 miles from home, 3 miles from 95? Where was it? Giving her all. I probably should put the boat and trailer in, the boat in here, but I just don't see it as plausible with the location of the dog. The riverbed campground, a railroad crossing, a river bend in Leeds. And I've got a railroad track. And I've got a bridge. And I'm gonna check it out because it looks like it gets to deep water quick, and the railroad tracks are here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Yes.
Were you here on May 12th?
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to see a truck and trailer that was here, a white one with a big black hay bale trailer on it at all?
Not that I can recall.
So I have, we have a missing person, as you know, a 33-year-old.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm here from Adventures with Purpose. Ping is somewhere between Leeds and Monmouth. And your boat ramp, how deep does that water get to? Because it looks pretty deep.
At that point,
yeah.
I think we were still very flooded that it was closed. It was chained off.
It was chained off.
Yes.
Okay.
And we walked all the trails.
Okay.
And we've seen nothing at all.
Understood. Yeah, I'm looking at it from the standpoint right now that the dog had to get all the way to Gray Road in Gray/Yarmouth, and the only way for a dog to get that far is to follow something. If it was on his own power, he would follow the railroad tracks and or power lines. And so I'm looking at it from the fact that the railroad track is here and the river's there.
Right.
Ping is in this region. That
What kind of dog was it?
Hazel's she's like a shepherd mix, like with one ear that flops and let's see, and a bright dog she stays with. So for 2.5 days she was missing. So she had to either, and it's a long way. It's like 37 miles. The dog was not taxed. It had a different collar on.
Really?
Yeah. So, but
oh, that's weird.
Well, this is the collar she was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you know, you see the eyes.
Yes.
Very distinctive dog. So
Very.
the collar, the owner, you know, she had a cowbell, so she'd run around, and he was very proud of that collar. And the collar then changed to a Carhartt collar, brand new.
Oh.
And so my thought process is that Alex might have made the decision that was the day, but he took the collar off so that he had that collar with him for comfort.
Hmm.
Not because someone changed the collar.
I know. I have goosebumps.
All right, if I walk down, I just want to look at it, so you know it was changed on the 12th. Okay, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Because how deep is that section? Because this is like a prime spot with that railroad track being there.
It is. I don't know how deep it is. It's way deeper than it usually is because it never went down more than what it is now.
Got it.
A lot of people are still concerned about
Keyboard, yeah.
but,
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if there's sonar, so I sonar the waters, and what I do is I look for the vehicles underwater. How he got from where he disappeared to there. I mean, you could drive in there. You could drive in here. You actually can drive in over there. And that gets deep. I do have some sticks down, some trees down over there. It's probably from the river though. But is there a possibility? And then did the dog jump up there and go out? This is the dead river. That's a boat ramp that he could have got in. Leeds, Maine, the Androscoggin River. Campbell Road is right up there at that red barn. And this is the closest location to someone in a self-harm situation making the decision to put the vehicle in the water. You literally could just drive right in and down. But if those trees indicate depth, it doesn't seem like it's deep enough right here. And I don't see I don't see anything really broken. Just trying to figure out where he went. Alex, we're looking for you, buddy. We're trying to get you home. You know, we're just trying to bring you home. Your friends want you home. Parents want you home. Your sister wants you home. We're just doing what we can to investigate it, to try to figure out, where did you go? Did you go there? So while it's fresh in my mind, I just met with the Chute family, and really enlightening conversation with them about the day that Alex went missing. And Alex was struggling. He struggling economically. He was having issues making payments. He rented a skid steer, and that cost his family $8,500 that they had to pay because he had just left it at a location for 8 weeks and never had had it returned. He owed money for cows. He owed money for, you know, he would come with no money for lunch or dinner with friends. He was struggling economically. When he was here at the farm, what Alex was doing was getting the brake lights fixed with Joe, and he was getting the trailer set up so that it could go on the road, and he was having a piece welded on the vehicle. So he was getting his vehicle roadworthy. So that being said, you know, after a long conversation with Joe and his dad, I didn't want to put him on film. I wanted to keep it just me talking. He was struggling. He was walking back and forth. He was on his phone the entire time. He was calling people. He was in a dark place. And I also learned that Alex's grandfather was buried in Gray at the Pineland Farm, and that they lived near the Pineland Farm in a red farmhouse. The fact that the dog is in Gray automatically throws a red flag that Alex either dropped the dog off there, that the dog is there specifically because Alex is either close by to the Pineland Farm where his father or his grandfather was and where they grew up. But there's a lot of psychology in this whole thing. He was struggling emotionally to deal with all the stresses of life. You know, sometimes we get ourselves in positions and places that we cannot get ourselves out of, and we end up in that spiral where we're just going down. And you know, for those of you out there that are struggling with similar things, seek professional help. I'm going to go back down from Leeds here and Campbell Road, and I'm going to start working closer to the Pineland Farms. The reason why I'm doing that is because that is a place that's dear to his heart, because that's where his family were and grew up. And you don't see that on Facebook. You don't see that with all the stuff that's going on. The speculation doesn't help anything, and the stories and the everything that's going on the internet. You can't do that in order to solve this. The real story is that this family took care of Alex for a very long time in his life. They've known him for 15 years. They've taken care of his cattle. They've helped him with trailers. They've let him store vehicles here. They've taken care of him for many years, and they've watched him struggle in the last couple. I'm going to do what I can to make a difference and see if we can bring him home here. I'm going to check Pineland Farms and see if he's on a deep maintenance road. I just have a feeling that Alex might have dropped the dog off because he got the truck roadworthy, and the dog is very similar to a cow. Alex had many dogs. His favorite dog was Ruby. He had Tanner and other dogs. So changing the collar out, bringing the collar with him, maybe he was trying to give him a new life. Maybe there was a little bit of trying to keep the memory of his dog, Hazel, with him by bringing the collar with him. But let me look at the farm first, and at Pineland down in Gray and Pownell, and then let's see if I can locate something that makes more logical sense. And the only other thing is that he could have actually made the decision to drive away because he had just had the trailer welded and the lights working so that he could get on the road.
He had toys and tools and stuff and trailers, and he had things all over the place. I mean, Joe held stuff for him for years, he said, 2 to 3 years, that trailers and parts and pieces of things that he had for years for him. That family loved him. They took care of him. When he was economically having a tough time, they bought cattle from him. You know, they were friends from 4-H, young Joe and him, and he cared about his friend. Alex cared about him enough that he drove there on a day that he was struggling and he was planning to leave, to ask Joe for help and to ask him to weld the trailer and to put the lights on. But it really might have also been a goodbye, or like Alex had done in the past, it was, I need help getting my trailer ready so I can get on the road, my truck and the trailer, so I can get on the road and I can go, because I'm not coming back because I owe a lot of money to people. Or it could be I'm not coming back, and you know, he could have driven out of there and been emotionally a mess and made the decision 20 minutes later that he wasn't coming home. At 4:35 in the afternoon, he texted his friends and his girlfriend, and that was the last time I was ever heard of from him. He gave 4 cattle or heifers to Joe's dad, and then Joe's dad paid him for them later on. He had given 7 cattle to other people. He owed people in the cattle farm and the auctioneer's houses money. He owed money for the farm that his dad purchased. He owed money to people for cattle that he purchased that he didn't pay for. He owed people for work that they had done. He owed a lot of people. It's a hard reality to have for a young man that's struggling emotionally, struggling psychologically to cope with life's, I guess, hardships. So, I don't know, it's a tough one. Search your backwoods, search your maintenance roads, you know, especially around Pineland Farm, especially in Gray. Gray was where his grandfather was and where he is buried, and where his grandmother's buried. So I'm coming into Lewiston, Maine, and there is no way that the dog made it through here. He's not doing that. So like if Alex came through here with the truck and trailer, there's no possibility that he actually came into Lewiston or went into Lake Auburn or any lake above us, north of us, and then the dog gets to Gray. The dog had to get to Gray because Alex got to Gray. So I'm at Lake Auburn boat ramp. One of the places that is on the way home from Leeds and Turner, and Monmouth, where the last ping was. If he took 202 and 4 down, this is a location that he could have gone in. Doesn't make sense with the dog again. I just want to see how deep it is. I'll have to pull up the depth chart on it. But this, I can see the bottom. I'm sure it's crystal clear. It gets pretty deep right here, but I see rocks right all through that section, but who knows if it's deep enough right there. So when I return up to Maine, you know, the truck would have to be right there. Like the truck and trailer would have to be literally right there. And I see rocks through the water. And so I'm gonna put the GoPro right in, see what it's.
headed to Pineland Farms.
I think you really need to search that area very clearly. All the four-wheeler trails, up the power lines, around Pineland Farm. If I was a betting man, I'd say that he was there. If he's not there, then he dropped the dog there near where his grandfather's and grandmother's grave is, said goodbye, and then drove away. I just don't know. It's been an interesting 2 days. You know, when you search for a person in the river and then you search for them on land a little bit, you start really looking into it, you start talking to the right people, you get the real story. Focus on searching people. Focus on finding answers by going and searching. Focus on stop pointing fingers. You're pointing fingers. Stop pointing fingers. Stop pointing fingers at friends and family members and girlfriends and people among the family. Go search for a person by physically getting on your bike, getting in your car, getting on your feet, going for a run up a power line, going and looking for people, going and helping. I drove from Rhode Island to help them find answers. And something either happened in Gray or he left Gray.
Where is Alex Jackson? Where could he have gone? Is he in Gray? Is he in New Gloucester? Somewhere near his grandfather's old house where his grandfather was buried? Is he in Vermont? I don't know, but that's why I'm here. Is he in the woods of Maine? Did he go down a long trail that no one's traveled? Is he up on a power line? Is he deep in the woods? Close to his grandfather's gravesite? Close to where the dog was found? You know, you can always seek help. You gotta figure it out. You gotta find a way to seek the help you need. But, you know, life's kind of a long journey, a long road. Sometimes it goes off on tangents in your life and you get lost. But you can't hide. You know, someone like me, or your friends or family, are gonna find you at one point. You know, people want Alex to come home. Alex, if you're out there, come home. And if you live in Gray or New Gloucester or Pownell, and near the power lines or near an old maintenance road, please double check those roads. Get out there and search your backwoods. There might be a white truck, Dodge 3500, and a trailer out there in the woods that you haven't seen. Some people don't leave their couch. You might own 50 or 100 or 500 acres, and you might not have been on your maintenance road for a long time. But that dog being close here in Gray on the New Gloucester North Yarmouth line, 7 minutes from where I'm at right now, in the middle of farm country. Okay, that's a big farm right there. Power lines here. Somewhere out here, Alex's truck could be hidden in the backwoods. Let's bring him home. Let's bring them all home. That dog is not running through Lewiston. That dog is not running through Wyndham. And that dog is not running all the way from Leeds or Monmouth. So go find him. Go out there in the woods and drive your back roads, drive your maintenance roads, drive your farm roads. Make sure he's not on your farm. He is known to every farmer in this region. Farmers, please go out there and do what you can to help the family. And make sure your farm is clear. Make sure you know your boundaries. Go look at your boundary markers. Go survey your ground, and go make sure that Alex is not in your back field, because he's not on the roads. He's not on the side of the road. I've driven all the roads that he drives. I have not seen a single thing that shows accident, and a lot of people, other people that have been talking with me, also have done the same. He's not in the ponds. He's not in the river that I can find so far. So you got to get out there and search for him, and the only way to do it is to clear your own properties. I'm here with Adventures with Purpose. I'm Bill McIntosh. Trying to find answers. That's what we're here for. We're trying to find answers for families.